Ohio GC News, Ima Ovidia Kwaba, Hadia, latest and hot news Kwana with the Bremo, Napo Running TV, again, Sammy Kennedy Akasa. Now, Sana, may some limit our battle. Mr. says, so we can subscribe to the channel. Mr. say, over subscribe. Subscribe, we are now for one like video. No, now for so watch share my offer for so now we may be now one trade. I feel you call a year and singing. A year, 1 hour, 1 free a year, or a year, allow Kojo Kyeremanteng party, Bamako, I friend Nana or him too. Can they no the NPP, one general secretary. Now, what they see you to Gyamfi Napo. Even the Napo, and the area Bawumia Napo Running, and the running mate, and Napo and Sammy. Don't do a crisis to say, and yes, a target Napo say, or ye Arrógant, or do a backup or say, or ye Arrógant, and you soup in the buyer or woman. And they say be attacking the director of one dozen Napo Arrógant, and you don't need arrogant leaders. Now, not one is also our team in AC area Bawumia for us. A year Bawumia, okay, can't say 2008, 2012, between 2016. What is answer no? Your boy, like I said, Bawumia Napo I said the right who said it was. Oh, the now go by Boakye say, oh, and the economy, whatever show was up. I feel the way Daniel free the economy look to baby crown and warrior digitization. Any and know him to offer Bawumia to be man and so and the year opponents and savings for what they assemble go now at Pila. Intentema equity a year. The now he need to learn some or need to be a fire Napo Running meeting and Bawumia singing ITSMA what they etuga into this.
Nana, unlike what happened in 2008, where the approval of the choice of running mate, Nana Akufo-Addo, candidate Akufo-Addo at the time, Dr. Bawumia, was not a straightforward one. In fact, as you've indicated some time ago, that he was not really the choice or the preferred choice at the time, or the most preferred or popularized choice at the time. But Nana Akufo-Addo was very clear in his mind that this is the man that he needs. In fact, the approval process kept we journalists waiting for so long. At the time, I was just a young journalist. He kept us at that hotel to midnight. Before that announcement was made. This one took less than 3 hours, I think. Now, what does that tell you?
I mean, clearly this one was preset.
Preset?
Yes. It was basically preset. I mean, from all the information that we had before the process came to an end, and most peculiarly, the weighing in of the NIB, the National Investigations Bureau, in coming out with some supposed report, investigation, I don't know whether it was a poll or whatever, that Napo was the most popular, most preferred running mate. So clearly this was an establishment agenda, and the establishment was ready to push it down at all costs. So for me, it's not strange that it turned out this way. But the point is that a lot of the issues that are coming up now about Napo's running mate position shows clearly that the NPP has gone from one mistake of choosing Bawumia as candidate to the next of choosing Dr. Matthew Puku Prempeh as running mate.
Why do you describe Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's choice as a
Bawumia
mistake?
is a very big mistake. Now,
how? Why?
You see, my friend from NDC sitting here, and the NDC generally, I had said this when we were in the party primary before, that the way the establishment was basically shepherding and predetermining the selection of Dr. Bawumia as the candidate, if that did happen, about 70% of the campaign work of NDC would have been done. Why? I'm a media person. All NDC needed to do was to pick some of the key statements that Dr. Bawumia had been making since 2008, 2012, 2016, before NPP came into office. And then juxtapose it to the current situation, particularly on the economy. And half of NDC's campaign would have been done. And this is exactly what the NDC is doing right now. To the extent that Dr. Bawumia himself has confessed on his Facebook wall that he gets distressed when videos and audios and recordings of his own statements are played back to him.
Well, that was Nana Pomia, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you see, I thought that the NPP would have looked at the strategic issues involved in, particularly how your opponent will position themselves against your candidate, presidential. It doesn't seem like they did. So they selected Bawumia. And every turn of the way, there is one tape or the other that is thrown into Bawumia's face. And it is very difficult for you to run away from it because this is audio, video, recording live. Now, when you have come through that kind of situation, so you get selected as the candidate, presidential. So now the party looks for a running mate. And my sense would have been that the running mate would provide some mitigating effect on the negatives of the presidential candidate. And you go and select a person who is not just tagged. Napo has not been tagged as arrogant. He is arrogant.
How do you see?
Now, when you take his responses to public concerns, I mean, is that a tag? When somebody speaks to you a certain way without respect, and then people say that if you speak this way, you are arrogant. Is that a tag? It only shows you what is inside the person. That is his character. It is not a tag. Please, let us be realistic about this. Now, even when somebody talks about, I think our friend here talked about the need for repackaging. Why would you need to repackage if there was nothing wrong?
There's no damage.
If there is no damage. Now, wait.
But
where we are today, I will insist.
Some repackaging.
No, I will insist. Look, I will insist. Let Ghanaians go to the polls, voting for people whose character they already know, not people who are going to be repackaged.
But would you
let Ghanaians go and vote based on what they know about people, whether they are packaged or repackaged or whatever? What is the person made of? What comes out of them naturally when they are squeezed? What comes out of them? Now, clearly our country is very fractured and divided along partisan political lines. Within Napo's own party, within the NPP, in the last election, the NPP had an issue with an independent in Fomena. The words that came out of Napo's mouth, I was shocked to see the NPP running to beg Honorable Esiama that he should come on their side so that they can become the majority. I mean, these are people who don't see the value of another person beyond themselves. And you say things like, look, Esiama he wants to go unopposed and so on and so forth. If other people had gone opposed, what do you think he would have gotten the chance?
Well,
if he gets, wait a second, please. If he gets into parliament, touch wood, he may not be, but if he does, he shouldn't even come near.
Yes.
John Boadu said the same thing.
Yes.
The president said the same thing. So it becomes a matter of convenience when they think that now they need you. And Napo has exuded that kind of character too. I had this conversation going on in Parliament about issues concerning Keta Sea defense having been put in requests that it should be added to budgetary proposals. And I cringed to hear Napo's reaction. That a request for the development of an opposition stronghold should be added to the budget. We should go and put a Keta Sea defense in the opposition stronghold. That was what really disturbed me. So Keta is opposition to NPP. And so therefore, the citizens of Keta are not Ghanaians. Yeah. And this person wants to become vice president of Ghana. And you are calling this a tag? This is not a tag. That is the man's character. I don't think that Ghanaians need a vice president like Dr. Opoku Prempeh.
Well, there are those who say his assertiveness is
Listen, let me make my point. I am telling you what Ghanaians are also. I am telling you what Ghanaians are saying about this gentleman. Napo has been my very good friend, and I've known him within the party, outside. But I am saying where we are at now, this country is at the crossroads. It should matter to all of us who becomes president, who becomes vice president, who becomes minister, who becomes this and that, who becomes MP. Now, these are people who would want to win an election, and that's about the end of it. Their character will show you. Napo is the least qualified, as far as I am concerned, to stand in for the president of Ghana a day that the president is not at work.
I see, but you say you know him.
Yes.
Personally.
Yes.
And that's your verdict.
Yes.
That even beyond
it is not. I'm telling you what I'm also picking. Since his
beyond you see, there are some who say who are close to him who say his public utterances are not a judgment of who he is. So if you say
that makes sense to you.
If you say you know him personally,
does that make sense to you?
If you say you know him personally,
yes.
Do you know him?
I'm just telling you that this is not a personal judgment in terms of love or hate. I'm telling you that we are at a point where Ghana needs leaders who are compassionate. Ghana needs leaders who are respectful, especially where the Akufo-Addo government has been accused of the arrogance of power, and there is a lot of evidence of it all over the place. I don't think we need another round of such arrogant leaders in this country. No, not of the kind. Look, I don't think anybody would take what I'm saying as an attack on Napo's person. That is what it is.
Simple.
Okay. So if
people had done the same thing about Akufo-Addo, would have been spared this.
I don't think we'll be where we are today, where people are complaining about the president not respecting our chiefs, the president not doing this and that. We are yet to go to the polls. And the Constitution of Ghana says that whoever is the running mate of the person who gets elected is deemed to have been elected. So if, as far as I'm concerned, touch wood, Bawumia gets elected, it means that Napo becomes the vice president. And I don't think that Ghana needs a president who cannot be trusted, a president who is running away from his own words, a president who is not ready to stand up to the thing that he said just a short while ago, and a vice president who doesn't respect anybody apart from himself. I don't think we need that. And this one is not a problem for the movement for change at all. It's not a problem for Alan. Now, you're talking about the NPP base in Ashanti.
And you know that quite well.
Yes.
Having served as General Secretary.
Yes. You have Alan Kyeremanteng.
Galvanize that
you
base.
have Alan Kyeremanteng as a presidential candidate. And you have Napo as a vice presidential candidate. If I should talk the ethnic politics, and I don't think we should shy away from it, it's not all that is negative. If Ashantis want a position in the presidency, they are better off with Alan Kyeremanteng than a vice president. Number one and number two, which one would you want to go for?
But
seriously speaking, but that is just you know on the side, not to but to come on to the more serious note. Imagine the personality of Alan Kyeremanteng in Ashanti, his demeanor, his character, his relationship with people, both high and low, and then look at Napo's attitude to people, and tell me that when Alan appears in Asafo Market or KJTR Market or race course, wherever it is, with the ordinary people, and then Napo appears, this one, I will put a challenge to the NPP. We should put Napo and Alan Kyeremanteng in Kumasi and let them go through the market. I will put that challenge to NPP. They are an institution. Alan is an independent. And when it boils down to the individual's character, I can tell you, the people of Ghana also are concerned about character. They're also concerned about your person, how you connect to people. It is important, and it should be important to selection of leaders going forward. So I don't think that the Bawumia Napo ticket sends any chills down my spine or Agyapong's spine or the NPP spine. No.
But if you talk about leaders who say things and run away, or run away from their words or their performance, either competently or incompetently, there are some who have also pointed to your candidate, who served in this administration, for that matter, as Trades and Industry Minister.
Yes.
And some of the deficiencies while he was minister.
Yes.
The 1D1F comes to mind as well,
Yes.
where I've sat with him and he says, you know what, I had my plan and I wanted to execute this in a certain way, but I am not the man in charge. How different is that from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia saying, well, there are certain things that I had a different mind about, but it is the president who has executive authority, and so I couldn't have done anything about it. As against the same way Gyamfi is also saying, well, with 1D1F, I had a plan, but I was not the one in charge, and so don't blame me for the failures of this policy whilst he was Trades Minister. That's the same tangent of he running away and from responsibility, is it not?
I'm afraid it is not.
What's the difference?
Sure you will take your time to listen to me. I've answered this question time and again. First thing, I'm sure that anybody or everybody who's listening to me will know the difference between the power and authority of a vice president and the power and authority of a minister in any government. Now, when you are vice president, you are basically shadow president. That's what it is. To the extent that if at any time the president is not at post, a minister does not go to act in the position of the president. Never. That is one. Two, if you talk about one district, one factory, I am surprised that the same policy arrangement that Alan put in place, which today the NPP is using to campaign, some people will sit somewhere and say that it failed. How did it fail?
How many factories are on stream?
There are 170 industries on stream.
Have you gone to see them?
Yes. And function? You are doubting what I'm saying?
Respectfully.
Then let me refer you to the recent statement by the current Minister of Trade,
So
K.T. Hammond.
Wait.
Can I respond to your question? Honorable K.T. Hammond, the current Minister of Trade and Industry, says that one district, one factory has created 170,000 jobs. And that
has been challenged.
By who?
By the
Trades Committee in Parliament. Did they go and
That's
check?
Number one.
Listen. Can I answer? I'm not under interrogation.
Not at all.
I'm just responding to your question. So let me answer. I am not even talking about Gyamfi. I'm talking about the current minister. He is saying, and he's telling and reporting, that about over 200 or so factories, at least 120, 150 of them are actively operating now across the country, creating about 170,000 direct and indirect jobs. Now, if the current government and the sitting party, the party in government, is campaigning with this, and it is not even Gyamfi who is talking about it, and somebody doubts it, they should go to the Ministry of Trade and go and check on that.
Okay.
Now, two, when the president is not in his seat, the next person who takes over is the vice president, as I said. Now, when the president was bringing Dr. Bawumia, he told the whole country, and I'm going back to the fact of Dr. Bawumia running away from his own statements. He told the whole country that, look, when traders trade, their capital is disappearing because the cedi is not stable. Their profits don't mean anything. And that is why I am bringing Dr. Bawumia to come and fix this economy. And traders, you will be happy because I'm going to hand over the economy to Dr. Bawumia when I take office. And then Akufo-Addo takes office 2017. To date, 8 years, with the economy firmly placed according to the words of the president, in the hands of the vice president, who also happens to be chairman of the Economic Management Committee. Today, when you talk about the economy, when you talk about exchange rates, when you talk about inflation, when you talk about prices of goods and services, Dr. Bawumia is just merely talking to you about digitization, which is one drop, one aspect of the entire economy. And the fundamentals which he himself lectured all of us on so copiously, the fundamentals. Dr. Bawumia, who is ready now, who says they should give him the steering wheel, and that he now wants to jump into the seat. Now, he doesn't even want to talk about the economy anymore. He doesn't want to talk about fundamentals anymore. That's what I'm saying. He's running away from his own statements.
Okay.
How can we trust a president who right now is still in charge of the economy, who is refusing to address directly economic issues? How can we trust that person to say, now, let me take charge and then I will now give you what I have up my sleeves? I think it is a trick for which a lot of voters have fallen in the past. Fortunately, we still have some time to decide and to think before we vote on December 7.
Right.
These gimmicks should not work with any Ghanaian, and it won't work.
Somebody put a question as to whether you prefer an arrogant leader who gets the job done or a humble leader who is incompetent.
But which job did he get done?
So those are two different. Let me
which
also
job
welcome Professor.
If the arrogant leader could get the job done, obviously everybody wants the job done. But still, we don't want an arrogant leader anyway.
Yo, Jevo, we are Ohini to former General Secretary NPP as I say, Akoto and the Fanto Party one of the day and some to the Awakasikapono or the Arrógant, a Subai and let's say a Tagino. And not to the NPP for one year mistake, one of Bawumia mistake number 1. Now, Afriyie Napo as running meetings is mistake number 2. What in some people are Net2 because this is and our hero. So we now subscribe, yeah, message over subscribe now, like it. Nothing was a video rama of us any now. Also, with me at share what in Afriyie and some women are I will comment boxing Mobati in Kabi in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.